it's Rashida Geddes, your coach and mentor, and welcome to Business Talks, the place to find tips and insight on creating a business career and life in Montreal on your own terms. Knowing who you are in business can go a long way in helping you develop the confidence necessary to take risks that will help you get to the next level. Growing a thriving business in Montreal, and anywhere around the world for that matter, is going to require that you stretch beyond your comfort zone and be willing to invest in a team. Taking risks is about living confidently in knowing that challenge is an opportunity to learn, adapt, and readjust along the way, all while being present and engaged in the process. We don't talk about it enough, but there is a faith walk to growing a thriving business and running a happy, healthy household. It requires that you have a bigger purpose, clear intention, and a resilient fight to continue taking action even when life is showing you so many different directions. My guest today is the founder of One Milk, Two Sugars, Priya Chopra. She is defining for herself and her team what it means to be a PR lady boss in Montreal. Take a look. Priya Chopra took a huge risk when she started her PR firm One Milk, Two Sugars after returning from her studies in Italy. 12 years later, it boasts an impressive roster of clients. With offices in Montreal and Toronto, it has tripled in size, all while Priya grew as a businesswoman and mother of three. Her success lies not only in her intuitive business sense, but also in her ability to adapt, stay focused, and resilient in an ever-changing industry. Welcome to the show, Priya. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Now, I know that you are of East Indian descent, and I'd love to know, how did that impact your business sense?
So yes, I am East Indian. Both parents are from India, and they immigrated here, so I'm brought up first-generation Canadian, which maybe you can relate to as well. So academics was super important being East Indian. You know, there was never a time, even on like when we have summer holidays from school, my dad would make us do homework. I appreciate it. Fun. We would always do a few hours of homework, nonetheless, even during the summer months. So growing up extremely academic helped me obviously excel at school, which helped me, you know, towards my future when I was graduating. In terms of starting a business, I didn't come from an entrepreneurial family. I think my parents were much more of the path of having a secure, a stable job, a stable income. So I took them for, you know, a little ride when I said, hey, I want to do this. And I was quite young at the time too. So it was a surprise to them. I think I was advancing corporately and they wanted me to continue on that path. So, but I'm really happy that, you know, I took that leap of faith and went ahead and did it.
Now, I know that you started your business after coming back from studying abroad in fashion, and you decided to forego a corporate career. Why did you decide to do that? Why did you decide to go the business route instead of really getting your footing in corporate? And how do you think that's helped you with, you know, advancing over the last 12 years in your business? I think even more than that, right? 12 plus years.
12 plus years, yeah, we're in our 12th year now. So I think that there was always an inner calling. I think a person who wants to go the entrepreneurial route, it's not easy by any means. I think of all people that start a business, I think only 50% is something that I hear will succeed in that. Businesses take 3 to 5 years to really make it. So you have to be extremely resilient. I don't think it's a path that everyone wants to take. So you really have to want it. So I did. I had always explored little businesses, small startup businesses, even during school years. So at this point in time when I returned from abroad, I studied my master, went to do my master's in Milan, lived la dolce vita, and I came back to Montreal and found myself unemployed at that time. So I said, hey, and I did look for a job. I did. I took 6 months applying for different kinds of opportunities. And I just kept going back to that idea that, you know, now's the time. I have this freedom to choose what I want to do. I'm always very much sky's the limit in my thinking. So I said, hey, I want to build a career that, you know, is my dream.
And I think that story resonates with so many people, not just those that might be unemployed, but those that are thinking of transitioning.
Oh, yeah.
They might be in a corporate position right now that they've been in for a few years, and they feel stuck, and they need to change and they need to move on. So can you tell them a little bit what it's like being your own boss and maybe giving us the day in the life of a PR powerhouse?
Yes. Well, once you get through the beginning, which is very challenging, I think the benefits are just bountiful. I mean, it's amazing to be your your own boss, the freedom, the flexibility of making your own schedule, living life by your rules, taking on clients, going after the clients that you really want to represent, carving out a little piece, of the big business world all for yourself. So I think it's an amazing opportunity if you can get there. Once you are there, a day in the life, I mean, really, every day is so different and so varied. But I think, it really brings a total sense of self-accomplishment like no other.
Yeah, and you were talking about knowing the type of clients that you want to serve. Why was it important for you to know who you were in business? And I know that you did that early on, to really figure out who you were, what you wanted to achieve, the clients you wanted to go after. Why is that important for you to start early on in business?
Well, I think there's still a lot to figure out. Even today, having been in business for 12 years, we're constantly reconfiguring the business model. And now I have a staff that also helps me brainstorm these ideas. But when you're starting something, it's really just you. So you're in your head and you're asking yourself a ton of questions. And I can't lie and say that, hey, it was right off the bat, I knew what I wanted to do. I think that it took me many years of saying, yes, I can do this. And yes, I will take on this business. And anything that comes your way, you're like, I'm going to grab this client because obviously you want your business to grow. But actually, in reverse, saying no was the biggest thing for me. It was, no, I'm not going to take on that client. I'm going to, focus my time on where I want it to be. I'm going to go after the clients that will really carve out a place in this market for me. So the more niche we became as a business, the more we propelled. So I think that was the biggest, eureka moment, if you will, or aha moment, as they say, as Oprah says. So yeah.
And I love the fact that you were talking about that, finding that niche, because some people think that if they go for a specific target audience, their specific dream client, that they're going to miss out on having opportunities from other bigger names.
And
in that case, in this type of business, in any business actually, it's actually the reverse. The more niche you become, the more you open yourself up to a global market because you're offering something that's unique that no one else offers in the exact same way.
So true.
And what I love about how you grew your business was that you actually grew it while having little ones, while having children.
Yes.
Now, managing expectations as it relates to your clients, to your family, to the obligations that you have can be challenging. How did you contend with managing expectation in your own business and in your own personal life? And what life lessons, or what big lesson came out of that?
Wow, yeah, no, that's a lot of great questions there. So definitely the business grew once my kids came into place. So I have 3 kids. They're all under 6, so life is extremely busy.
Yes.
I just had a 3rd child. It's been a year. So with every child has brought me immense victory, both personally and professionally. Surprisingly, contrary to what women think, they can succeed. You will find a way to make it work.
Absolutely.
I think that there's an overthinking that happens. And maybe a fear, but it's complete. Once the baby's there, you would be surprised. Our clients have been extremely accommodating. So I've had to work on putting myself a little bit in behind the scenes and making sure I've hired and staffed up a very, very skilled team to represent the agency. Of course, there's a lot of training that goes into that. It's still my business. It's still something that I set up, and it's a reflection of me. So I'm extremely involved, and I think people are a little bit surprised. They say, "So are you going on mat leave?" And I said, "No, I'm not going on mat leave. I'm still there.
This is my mat leave."
This is my mat leave. I was at an event the other day at the office. They're like, "Are you back?" I'm like, "I wasn't really gone. I'm always there. They may not see me in the day-to-day for every single meeting or event, but I'm always there." So yeah, repositioning a little bit the expectation of the client, making sure that they understand that there is their day-to-day person who's there, but I'm just a call away. I'm still there, go-to. I'm always available. I'm always around. So yeah, I think that took many years to do that. I can't say it happened with the first child. I think with the first child, I was still working many late hours, still getting the business a little bit established. We were in the growing pains at that time, getting everything, off the ground. We opened a second office when I had my second child, and now just kind of managing all that with the third. So yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's great too that your kids actually are able to see that. I know being able to be a working mom and being able to go after your dreams, I think is something, especially, young children that are impressionable need to be able to see. They need to be able to see those examples and different models of different ways to do it.
Yeah.
Now, I think what's really important, and I know that I developed that sense that when I had my first daughter, is really trusting in your intuition and knowing when something feels right and works and you should go for it, and knowing when to pull back and say no, as you mentioned.
Yes.
Was that something that you had all along, or did you develop it along the way?
I think intuition or having good instinct is something that you can nurture and develop. I think working with clients and just understanding their expectations, putting myself in their shoes is a skill that I've honed over years. And I think that that's what makes our business able to succeed, because I'm sort of in their mind. So when somebody in my team is giving me their to-do list, and I'm like, well, have you checked in with this person? Have you checked in with that? Because I know what they're thinking. And sure enough, we might get an email that very day, and they always are like, how did you know that, Priya? I said, it's just years of, practice. So I think intuition for sure. I've always had a great instinct. Actually, I have this T-shirt that says, "My intuition told me so." And when I saw that shirt, I said, I have to buy this because I live by that.
Yes.
I always live by that. So even when I make my decisions, they're very rash sometimes. I might wake up in the morning and have an idea, and it has to be done that day. And it's really guiding me. My intuition is always guiding me. So I think that it's something you can develop through practice, but I think innately it's there as well. And as an entrepreneur, even more so.
Absolutely. And as women, I think that we have a keen, more intuitive sense of how that intuition plays out, especially because it's that mother nature thing, right?
Yes,
And being able to
yes.
say, knowing when something's wrong and knowing when something's right, we intuitively know that. So if we can tap into that more, we realize that it can play out in so many different aspects of our lives.
Definitely.
And what I love about business, and also hate about business, is the acquisition of new clients.
Yes.
Now, you talked about early on in your career cold calling, and that experience, how it was a character building experience. Can you tell me about a lesson you learned, maybe a story, an anecdote, something about your experience cold calling? Because I know I've done that. I know I've had to do that. And anybody that's growing a business, that's trying to get themselves out there, trying to get people familiar with the brand, are going to have to do that. So if you can talk about that a bit.
Yeah, cold calling. I mean, it's a testament to character. It's very difficult, obviously, on your self-esteem because, you're knocking on doors, old school style, trying to get people to notice you and who you are and what you're doing. So it was my job at the beginning. That was the way I acquired new business. I would get on the phone because we started this company. I was 24. I mean, I didn't have a vast network as you might have when you're in your 30s or 40s or having worked corporately. So I didn't have those connections. Definitely, it was something I was started with 2 partners at the time. So we were just starting with friends and family and anyone who would listen. So really a story I still remember that made me feel like, okay, I think I'm pretty good at this. I called a beauty company that I had wanted to solicit, and funny enough, that day I had the business owner came on the phone, and he happens to be a very prominent businessman in Montreal with multiple businesses, and I obviously didn't know that. And I gave him my 2-minute, sales pitch on the phone, and I'll never forget. He said, "Okay, I want you to come in, and I want to meet you." And I said, "Okay." So when I went into his office and I met with him, he called his son, who works for him, and he said, "Okay, I want you to repeat exactly your sales pitch to my son, because that is how my son should be selling as well."
Wow.
So it was such an amazing sense of, just a pat on the back for all those years of cold calling and getting this respect from such a prominent businessman who I'm still in touch with today, actually, and has supported me over the years.
Absolutely. That's a beautiful story. And I think it's a testament that the more you practice and the more you get, comfortable with saying what you do, who you serve, what you offer, and why it's unique on the market, the better you'll become at being able to express that. And people will get it. They will get it, and they'll want to work with you just because of that.
The passion has to be there. You have to believe in yourself. That has to come through. And I think that when it is your baby and it's your business, it comes through inherently. But I think you need to be completely confident in your ability to sell your services and, to say that, you're offering something that's like no other. So the passion has to be there as well.
Absolutely. Now, what would you say would be, in terms of the biggest risk that you've taken, whether it's time, energy, or money, and what happened as a result of it? What happened as a result of taking that risk?
Risk has always brought great reward. Completely believe in that. That's what I was saying before. I just go to sleep at night, or I'll be taking my shower, and all of a sudden I'll have this idea, and I have to just go for it. And it's always worked for me. I think as you grow in business, a big risk that puts a lot of pressure is capital, and getting the capital to grow, investing your own capital. I mean, I was all self-financed. So I think that, that is a lot of pressure for some businesses when you're trying to make that big jump and grow your business. acquisition of capital, having capital investment in your business is a big deal. But I think that with every decision, I mean, we opened a second location in Toronto. I didn't have to do that. I was completely content with the way things were going here. But I said, you know what, I think for the future of the business, having this location is going to be critical. It's been my focus for the last 3 years. It was right when my son was 6 months old. I had to hustle him down to Toronto, look for office space, get acquainted with that market. And now we have a flourishing team and a great office there. It's been only 3 years. So it was a really, really great investment. I'm starting to see it pay off more now, but it takes time. So yeah, that's an example of a big risk that was taken for sure.
But I love how you were able to have this idea, see it through to the end, and make it happen and realize it for yourself. Because I think that's what we need, right?
Yes.
The moment that we're able to realize that the idea that we have can really take us through if we continue to move one step forward, even in a small way, towards that goal, that end goal.
Goal is the key word. It's all about attaining your goals, I think. And it can be, of course, having a long-term viewpoint is really important. I think that's a really important message to entrepreneurs. I think we get so caught up in the day-to-day, and we have our short-term goals, and we may have our checklist of our goals. But a really good advice I got from my business coach recently was thinking of my 5-year plan. What exactly is that? And it doesn't have to be detailed. He said, put it down on paper, 1 page, 2 pages, that's it. It doesn't have to be more than that. And that got me thinking, I said, I haven't even done that. I haven't thought 5 years down the road. I may think 3 years down the road, but 5 years seems long. So it's really important to map out that, project what you want to happen, and it will come to you.
Absolutely, I completely agree with that. Now, where can people go to find out about you, your business, everything that's going on in the land of One Milk, Two Sugars?
So you can go to thesugars.ca. That's our short form of our website. Everybody calls us the Sugars because the team has expanded past 2 Sugars. The name is One Milk, Two Sugars, but now it's the Sugars. So thesugars.ca. We have an office here in Old Montreal. We're in downtown Toronto as well. We serve national brands, and you can check us out on that, or on our Instagram, or on our Facebook, which is One Milk, Two Sugars PR.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining us today and bringing your insights on being a lady boss to us today.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you for having me.
My interview today left me with 2 takeaways. First, in business, it's important to trust your intuition, and that is something you can strengthen as you go. Just remember that we all have the ability to tap into that intuition, whether in our business or our personal life. And second, someone is waiting for what only you have to offer. By not taking risks and walking in your authority, Montreal is missing out on your genius. I'd like to thank my guest, Priya Chopra, for being with us today, and I'd also like to thank you guys for tuning in. Are you ready to create a business, career, and life on your own terms? Are you looking to leverage your strengths so that you can transform your life? Visit RashidaGeddes.com to learn more about how I can help you and your business. Empower, mentor, lead, and never stop learning. Bye for now.